Hello everybody, welcome to UK Gaming Network. I'm Brian, also known as UK Gen Zoidberg, and welcome to a special Halloween themed episode of Best 10 to kick off the month of October. If you were around last year, you might well remember that I did a Retro Game Super League video all about Halloween themed games that you could be playing in order to get yourself in the seasonal spirit. Well, this year I've been thinking about those games that only have a little sprinkling of spookiness, that you could also be playing as you're drinking your witch's brew. As always, this is an entirely personal selection, and my opinions are not set in stone. If you disagree with something that I say in this video, that's fine. I would, however, like to hear your opinions in the comments. Now, I know these videos are called Best 10, but when I actually came to compiling this video, there were actually only 9 games that I could think of, and so with that in mind, the game that we're kicking off the list with is pretty far from being the best anything. There's simply no question about the quality of the presentation in this game adaptation of the classic Disney movie The Lion King, but I've never understood how people hold the game in such high regard. As platform games go, it features some of the worst level design I've ever experienced, the collision detection is awful and the controls are woefully unresponsive, although I will concede that that last one might only be the Amiga version. The game's second level takes in the elephant graveyard portion of the film, with a dark grey colour scheme and bones littering the scenery, all accompanied by a rendition of Be Prepared. Play it if you must, but it's not for me. Whilst we're on the subject of games that aren't very good, and lions too I suppose, here's Brian the Lion from Reflections. Released at a time when all the big publishers were trying to emulate the success of Sonic with their own platforming mascot, all the effort clearly went on proving the Amiga could produce console quality graphics and sound. Sadly, they forgot about the gameplay, and by the time you reach the graveyard level, which is towards the end of the game, you'll be wanting to throw your joystick out the window from all the stupid blind jumps and hidden traps that you'll have had to endure. For a marginal step up in quality, we have Oscar, the movie-themed platformer from Flare. It's one of those rare games where you're better off playing the original A500 version, as the extra colours of the AGA version end up making the game look a complete mess. There's so much going on that you miss all the nicer little touches in the visuals, like the disco dancing Frankenstein's monster, or the snazzy vampire outfit worn by the game's hero. There are also some distinctly Geiger-inspired creatures that roam the sci-fi levels as well. One of the earliest games to come from Core Design was Car-Vup, a fast-moving platformer based on the arcade game City Connection. Your car can't stop moving and you must drive over every platform in the level, and it's a surprisingly addictive little game. What puts it on this list is the second world that you'll visit, which takes place in graveyards and castles, where you are removing slime from the platforms whilst you are avoiding bats, mummies, vampires and more. It's just a shame that the sound effects don't change to reflect this change in ambience. You don't have to get that far in Yojo for things to get spooky. The opening level is a haunted castle full of bats, paintings that come alive, and skeletons that rise up from the ground. There's even a Jason Voorhees lookalike roaming the corridors, and a haunted crypt full of treasure and the undead, if you're brave enough to explore it. Fortunately, they can mostly be fought off with the various weapons that are lying around, and there are multiple routes that you can take through the levels. It really is a shame that Hudson's platformer doesn't get as much love as it deserves. Make sure you play it if you haven't already. Think of Ter Away Thomas as the complete opposite of Brian the Lion, in that all the effort here clearly went on the gameplay, leaving the graphics to look a little basic. Don't let that put you off though, as this has always been one of my favourite platform games because the gameplay is so incredibly simple, challenging and addictive. It also helps that it's one of the first platformers to recognise the importance of fire to jump. By the time you're good enough to reach the third world, called Ghostland, you'll have the tight controls perfected, but that doesn't mean that you'll be able to navigate past the ghosts with ease. Back to horror movies again, this time Premiere from the 8th Day, which sees you jumping your way around various sets to retrieve lost movie reels. The horror movie set is a haunted laboratory, where you'll encounter all manner of strange creatures, including a disembodied hand that's nowhere near as friendly as Thing from the Addams Family. There are also trapdoors that can propel you upwards when you stand on them, and lava pits to jump across. Get to the end, and you'll come face to face with the devil himself in a one-on-one confrontation. Billy, the hero of Video Kid, finds himself zapped inside the TV, and he has to fight his way through 5 different movies in order to escape. There's the Western-themed opening level, as well as fantasy and gangster stages, with Billy taking on the appearance of a character from each. For the 5th and final level, he dons the guise of a vampire and enters a horror movie. All the levels and enemies are presented in grainy black and white as you blast skeletons and zombies towards a final confrontation with a giant jack-o'-lantern and your final chance of freedom. The final entry is actually 2 games in one, because I simply cannot separate them. In 1992, there was no Amiga game that I put more hours into than Pinball Dreams, and specifically the Nightmare Table. I played it during my lunch breaks in the office, I played it at home, I played it challenging my brother and my friends to see who could get the best score. Then, later that same year, along came Pinball Fantasies, a more feature-rich and technically accomplished game, and it also featured a table called Stones and Bones. I gave it a massive score of 95% in my Amiga Action review, and I don't regret a single word of it. So, that's the 9 games I could think of. What do you think should be the 10th? Pop your suggestions in the comments, and I may even make another video of the best ones, and give a shout out to whoever suggested them. Thanks for watching, remember to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video, and until next time, happy retro gaming, see you soon.